last night, the last week, getting ready for this, and I wrote everything down. You see, these pages are empty. I don't think there's words that can describe with good meaning and truth to who I am. The only words that for myself, that I can come up with is words from the Bible, which I will share with you at the end. So my life, I was raised by two people that were Catholics, but by the time I had come into the picture, they were broken, and the world had beaten them down into sin. They had both become alcoholics. My father and my mother always provided for us, love, the best that they could do. There was always food on the table, and my dad had a career that spanned 30 years, partially in the military and partially working for a company that made rockets and jet airplanes. When I was young, we were taught to pray. I would every night get on my knees and say a prayer. And the hardest part about that prayer was when it got to, and if I don't wake, take my soul to take. And I always wondered how scary that would be not to wake up the next day. But it's been 54 years and I'm still here. Through that life of growing up in a family broken by sin, it was very easy to find sin on your own path. For me, as I got through my younger life, I became a roofer. I worked hard every day. I did that career for 20 years. But in that 20 years, I was following the world, and I was full of disaster. I was constantly drinking beer every day after work. I thought it was okay. I felt that I had a job, and I was able to perform my job. And I felt that, this little sidekick that I got going on with alcohol is okay. But that certainly proved not to be true. The several disasters in my life, not really resulting from alcohol, but just the path that alcohol took me down, and the people that I friended myself with led into many disasters. I've had people die. I've been in situations where I should have died, and I lived. God has always rescued me since I was a little child from those disastrous moments. And as I grew up, I realized and looked back at my life and saw how God has always reached his hand down and pulled me out of the mud, out of the disaster. But again, always saying to myself, I'm not good enough for you, Lord. Don't worry about me. I got this. I can do it. So still knowing God exists, but never really coming to him and assembling together like we are now. I never did that. On Christmas, Easter, once every 5 years, possibly. But one day, life had gotten to a point where I was tired, and I was alone, and I was single, and I was just puzzled at the disaster that I left behind me and that I was still alive. And I was in the transitioning point from one job to another, and I had this collection of business cards on my dresser, places that I had interviewed with or talked with over the years, different companies, and I would have that business cards in this jar. And one day I was in need of a job. I was changing jobs. The one job wasn't working out. And I saw this business card that a dear friend had given to me many years back. And I decided to go to that company that day. Well, I went to the interview, and that's where I met my wife, Colleen. She was the manager of the company. And from that day on, when I left the interview and I walked out to go to my car, something told me, and I've always, again, God calling. I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. That's fine. That's too much. And there was a voice in me telling me to go back in the office and tell Colleen that I feel somehow or another that we are going to be tied in each other's lives for a long period of time. And I'm like, she's going to think I'm crazy. So again, I was finally trying to learn how to listen to that voice inside that I believe is the Holy Spirit, God guiding me. And I went back in the office and I told Colleen that I had felt in my heart that we were going to be friends for a long time or some way to have a relationship. Several years went by. Me and Colleen started dating. I moved in with her, and one of our friends at work was a devout Christian and said to us both, no, you cannot live together under one roof. You're sinning, and opened the Bible, shared with us. And we started going to Bible study. We started learning about the Bible from that time because of that question. And it didn't take much time till we got married. And once we got married, we started going to Bible study more. We started opening the book and learning for ourselves. And then a couple of disasters happened. My father got sick with dementia. He had a stroke. There was nobody to take care of him, so we brought him in to our house. And when we brought him in the first night, we had drove 4 hours with my father. And he said, hey, we have to go back. And I said, Dad, we just drove 4 hours. What is that? Why do we have to go back? He goes, I have Bible study tonight. And so Colleen called a few churches, and the first one was a Catholic church. They didn't answer the phone. The second one was the Church of Christ. They said, come on down, we have Bible study tonight. And we went to that church to Bible study, and it's been 13 years now that we have been attending church and following God. Shortly after that Bible study, we both got baptized, and that's how we were both come to know the Lord and be saved by the Lord. One thing for sure, by becoming a Christian, life did not get easier. It seemed that life got harder. But the one thing that keeps me coming back is knowing that God is there, and he has reached his hand out to me and to my family and to all of us. Because when I look out here, I see all people that remind me of myself, that we love God and we're here to know the truth. And I know that every day that I wake up, I thank the Lord for having another day on this earth. And one of the things that I was reading over the weekend, it was a song, and it seemed to touch my heart a little bit. And the song was by Big Daddy Weave. And I want to read this words. I was dead in my transgressions, wandering in sin. I went searching for redemption down a road that had no end. I was walking through the fire. I was living on the run. With my flesh lost in desire, I was drowning in the flood. But God, rich in mercy, came to save me. Now I'm alive. But God, strong and mighty, you reached down for me so I could rise. Now I'm alive. I am far from being perfect. There are days that I regret. On this battlefield I struggle with the lies that I have lived. I have fallen short of glory, and I can't make it on my own. If you kept record of my past, I'd be sinking like a stone. But God, rich in mercy, you came to save me. Now I'm alive. But God, strong and mighty, you reached down for me so I could rise. Now I'm breathing in, breathing out. I was in the grave, but God, you called me out. I'm breathing in, breathing out. I was in the grave, but God, you called me out. But God, rich in mercy, you came to save me. Now I am alive. My God, strong and mighty, you reached down for me so I could rise. And those words are how I feel every day when I wake up. And I'm thankful to have the Lord in my life. And I hope to, just from this talk, that you guys can get to know me better, and that we can share in these gospel meetings that we have every Sunday and grow together. Thank you.